What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, if you caught my last video, I was yelling and screaming and cheering and raising the freaking roof because Donald Trump is winning in the courts, folks. The Supreme Court, once again, sided with the Constitution and the law, the rule of law in this country, which is also, by proxy, siding with the Trump administration. Yeah. We don't have to spend money we don't have. Yay for that, right? But once again, let's take a trip down to Michigan for a second. Michigan judge tosses case against 15 accused fake electors for President Donald Trump in 2020. Here we go, folks. The fake elector scheme. Oh, my fake electors. That's all we heard. We were getting rammed in the face constantly. Well, what about Donald Trump's fake electors? That's all we heard. His fake electors, fake electors, fake electors. Well, you know what? They weren't fake electors. Everything was set up to where it was a contingency plan, essentially. That if Donald Trump won his court cases and the election was overturned, we need to certify electors. Yes, that is how the system works. And they had a slate of electors set up in several states where Donald Trump had all these legal challenges. And all of a sudden, come to find out, these Democratic attorneys general, I don't know how the proper plurality goes for that, but they decided, well, you know, contingency plans aside, you can't do that. That's fake electors. You're going to jail. Oh, is that so? Well, let's see about that, folks. A Michigan judge dismissed criminal charges Tuesday against a group of people who were accused of attempting to falsely certify President Donald Trump as the winner of the 2020 election in the battleground state, a major blow to prosecutors as similar cases in 4 other states have been muddled with setbacks. You know what those setbacks are? Those are legal setbacks, by the way. Yeah, you know, lawyers have the ability to perform work for clients. Yeah, that's the legal setbacks. The First Amendment, for goodness sakes. Right? Once again, contingency plans, folks. If you have enough court cases for this election that there's a chance this election gets overturned, you are going to need to certify slates of electors. There's no way around that, folks. And these people tried to send people to jail over that. That's absurd. They did not certify them, or they did not attempt to falsely certify them as the real electors. It was contingencies. But the corporate press, they don't tell you these things, and they're going to make that mistake again. And I'm being kind, by the way, when I say mistake. District Court Judge Kristen D. Simmons said in a court hearing that the 15 Republicans accused will not face trial. The case has dragged through the courts since Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, a Democrat, announced the charges over 2 years ago. Simmons said she saw no intent to commit fraud in the defendants' actions. Whether they were right, wrong, or indifferent, they seriously believed there were problems with the election, the judge said. Among other things, as in, you know, you're allowed to have contingency plans. I believe they were executing their constitutional right to seek redress, Simmons said. Oh, is that so? Well, you know what? If we just go with the corporate press narrative, that doesn't make any sense. They certified themselves as fake electors. That's a clear election fraud, right? Right? Each member of the group, which included a few high-profile members of the Republican Party in Michigan, faced 8 charges of forgery and conspiracy to commit election forgery. The top felony charges carried a maximum penalty of 14 years in prison. Supporters, friends, and family crowded the hallways outside the courtroom cheered when the judge said the cases would be dismissed. Defendants leaving the courtroom cried and hugged friends and family. One woman wept as she hugged another and said, "We did it." That is right, you did do it. Investigators said the group met at the Michigan GOP headquarters in December of 2020 and signed a document falsely stating they were the state's duly elected and qualified electors. Yeah, that's what the investigators said, but is that what actually happened? Could they prove that? See, that's one thing the corporate press does. They're going to say, oh, well, they're going to give you this one side of the story as if it's fact. This is what happened. They did this thing. Well, that's what the investigators said. But, if that was the case, if the investigators could prove what they said, right? This is just what they said. This is not evidentiary, by the way. They didn't show that as evidence, because if they would have shown that as evidence, that judge would have no choice but to send these people to trial. But the judge said, no, they're not going to trial. This is pre-trial, folks. This is the evidentiary, right? The discovery, if you will. That's fascinating, don't you think? So, no, they did not sign anything to certify that they were the electors. Once again, a contingency plan, it's insane. It really is. President Joe Biden won Michigan by nearly 155,000 votes, a result confirmed by a GOP-led state Senate investigation in 2021. Electors are part of the 538-member Electoral College that officially elects the President of the United States. Yes, we all know this. In 48 states, electors vote for the candidate who won the popular vote. In Nebraska and Maine, elector votes are awarded based on congressional district and statewide results. One man accused in the Michigan case had the charges against him dropped after he agreed to cooperate with the state attorney general's office in October 2023. Oh, so they had somebody defect, by the way, and they still lost the case. That's fascinating. The other 15 defendants pled not guilty and have maintained their actions were not illegal. Prominent Michigan MAGA activist and former Michigan Republican Party co-chair Michonne Maddock was one of the accused. Her attorney, Nicholas Somberg, told reporters after the hearing that the case brought by the Attorney General's office was a waste of money and a malicious prosecution. There needs to be major consequences for the people who brought this, he said. That is right. There absolutely does. And it sounds like the judge agrees here. Because all of those prosecutions for, my fake electors, that was a Democrat plan. And the corporate press just ran with that narrative, folks. That was widespread. You even have Republicans, till this day, believe that Donald Trump had a bunch of fake electors in several different states, folks. All of it's not true. All of it. We've been saying that this entire time on this channel. All of those fake elector cases, like I was saying when they came out, once I did my research and looked into what was going on, I'm like, this is bogus. This is just standard legal work. They just filled out paperwork, for goodness sakes, and it was based on a contingency. The paperwork itself even says this. Like, these are going to be the electors if this case is overturned. I was called a crazy conspiracy theorist. But once again, that's what I read in the files themselves, folks. And we were called crazy. We were called nuts. And, honestly, I was even questioning that for a little while myself. But I've been saying this for years. These people, this is like one of the biggest fraud schemes I've ever seen in my entire life. This whole thing, just one of the largest fraud schemes. Hopefully, these lawyers go after that attorney general. That attorney general needs to be disbarred, impeached, and prosecuted, as a matter of fact. We all knew from day one that we had done nothing illegal or wrong, Maddox said in a written statement. Yes, we volunteered to be an alternate elector in support of Donald J. Trump. That is not a crime, as much as Nessel wanted it to be one. Nessel called Simmons' ruling disappointing and a very wrong decision during a virtual news conference and said evidence would support criminal charges if the case had been brought before a jury. Oh, where's your evidence? How come nobody has ever seen this evidence, by the way? Nobody. She said the group members knew their actions did not follow proper election procedure and specifically sought to circumvent the rules. Oh, kind of like Democrats did? Oh, did Democrats happen to change the rules just before the election? Yes. Yes, they did, as a matter of fact. Which is fascinating, folks. Like, once again, You just can't go to jail. You can't charge somebody criminally for being a lawyer or being an alternate slate of electors. That's not illegal in this country. That is most certainly legal. Now look, Donald Trump's avenue of attack, legally speaking, was very novel. We'll put it that way. But it was all on the up and up. Once again, this is Donald Trump we're talking about. This is why, like all of these cases against Donald Trump, none of them ever make any sense to me because we never see the evidence, for goodness sakes. And for two, like Donald Trump knows the scrutiny that he comes under, especially from the corporate press and from Democrats. They are going to scrutinize. If he didn't cross a T properly, right, they're going to scrutinize that. For goodness sakes, they go as far as to make stuff up, like this whole Epstein birthday letter nonsense. Because somebody named Donald knew Epstein and wrote him a birthday letter, all of a sudden that has to be Donald Trump. You've got leftists all over Blue Sky, like vomiting on themselves because of it. It's Donald Trump. He's a pedo. Blah, 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 blah. It's nonsense, y'all. It really is. It's nonsense. All of it's nonsense. You cannot. You just cannot make up crimes against people and think you can get away with it. Like, it's absurd. It really is. All this is crazy, y'all, but I think I've rambled on for long enough. This issue has been dead for a while. Like, once again, like, I take it back to this. These people, they don't even believe their own rhetoric because they dropped all these charges against Donald Trump. And you think they did that just because he won? They could hold on to these charges, especially in Georgia. That case in particular, that just fell by the wayside. That case is gone, folks. If they truly believe that Donald Trump tried to steal the 2020 election, do you think that they would not try to go after Donald Trump just because he's the president? Don't you think they would say, okay, buddy, I got you. You won the election, but we're going to wait till you come out of office. Then we're going to nail you to the freaking wall. If they truly believed he was guilty. But instead, they dropped the charges. Fascinating, that is. Very fascinating. But like I said, rambled on for long enough. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share this video anywhere and everywhere that you can. Sign up. Become a member. That's the best way to help this channel grow. But that's all I got. You guys remember that God is always with us. He loves each and every one of you out there. So y'all remember that. And y'all try to have a good day. And stay legitical. Peace.